That's the danger of this whole situation.
Exactly. You see?
You are risking your life, bro.
I mean, what's adventure without risk? But for example, I've been robbed in South Africa.
Wait, you have been robbed
Yeah.
in South Africa?
Yeah. Just outside Cape Town.
Yo, bro, when you say something like that,
And then the future generation completely has no clue about the importance of wildlife.
The guy you see on your screen, his name is Travelled Mufasa. He has been traveling around Zimbabwe on foot.
Hi, my name is Travelled Mufasa, and I walked 1,500 kilometers on foot. I walked around my country in search of connection with nature, wildlife, people, culture, and food. It was an incredible journey, and along the way I would meet so many children with whom I would take pictures and videos with. Engaging them always came with one question: what do you want to be when you grow up? The responses they gave me were very saddening, as they wanted to become nothing other than that was around their villages. They had not experienced life outside their own villages, and neither did they know anything about city life, wildlife, conservation, and its importance. And with that, Cape to Kili was born. Project Cape to Kili is a walking journey from Cape Town to Mount Kilimanjaro on foot. The journey will see me walking across 5 countries in 6 to 7 months, totaling a distance of 6,000 kilometers. I will walk through cities, villages, wilderness, towns, and game reserves, raising money for children across Africa to get an opportunity to connect with nature, wildlife, and their world, opening them to a world of so many opportunities. In as much as I'm experiencing it, this is something that I love. So in as much as I'm sharing it, it's also inspiring someone out there to go out there and experience different cultures and get to put their bodies and minds at the stretch, you know?
True.
So why are we keeping these things for them when they don't know anything about them, right?
You invest a lot of time, money. You face a lot of challenges when you're traveling. If you are a content creator, when you're investing something like that, when you're investing that much, and then you upload the video and the video gets 100 views, it's painful. It's something that can demotivate you, isn't it?
No, not even. I think maybe that's why I'm saying I'm not a content creator. All I'm doing is just to share the world with people.
Exactly.
Share the experiences that I experience with people. So even if it gets to 5 people and they're impacted by it and they fall in love with it, I'm more than happy to do that, to continue doing it each and every day. Because remember, in as much as I'm experiencing it, this is something that I love. So in as much as I'm sharing it, it's also inspiring someone out there to go out there and experience different cultures and get to put their bodies and minds at the stretch, you know? So for me, it's not about the views, it's not about but it's always about sharing the experiences.
Bro, you have traveled more than 1,000 kilometers on foot. A lot of people complain. People barely walk 1 kilometer. When they walk a kilometer and they're complaining. You know, our parents used to tell us, we used to walk 10 kilometers to school.
That's another reason why you should do it, because you know, our parents tell us that we walk 20 kilometers to school, 10 kilometers to school.
Exactly.
So why don't we try it to see if they would really do it? And let me tell you something crazy. A person walks an average speed of 5 kilometers per hour. So what it means is if you walk for 2 hours, you've probably done between 8 to 10 kilometers already. So some people out there, especially most of the people out there, trust me, they actually walk 10 kilometers every day, but they just don't know it. And they put it as a figure to say, okay, I'm going to walk 10 kilometers. It's too much for me. But the more they walk from the bus stop, running their errands, doing all that, it reaches 5 to 10 kilometers already.
My bro, I have a question.
Why do you have a feeling that that's a crazy question coming?
Because like, it's, I don't know why I am so surprised. Let's say there are no cameras. Would you do this?
Yes. And remember, I started without a camera.
Yeah.
Remember, I started without a camera.
So you
And I was
started
just
without a camera. I mean,
without a
where's the
camera.
motivation coming from?
It's it's something that's from the inside.
Ah.
So this is something. Remember, I told you I wanted to connect with the world. So it's always I want to. So sharing it to people is just a bonus, but it's basically for me to see. Okay, I want to experience this, and I'll tell you something. It's more like Shona is what they speak mostly in Harare, right?
Exactly.
As you walk towards Manikal inside, towards Mutare, the tone of Shona starts changing. It starts changing. And then as you walk from Mutare to Vaishnavage, it starts twisting even more. So it's all Shona, but it's totally different. So this is something that I travel for, to experience that differences and to understand. And in the end, you just realize that we're just one people, So that's what I travel for.
So exposure is powerful in terms of this whole thing. You get to know your own people, isn't it?
You get to connect with the people. You get to connect with your environment, and you get to connect with your cultures.
What have you seen out there? I mean, we're talking about Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, okay.
What is it that you have seen and said, wow, this is beautiful. This is Zimbabwe. What is it that you have seen out there?
Whew, that's a tough question. Because first and foremost, Zimbabwe is very beautiful.
Exactly.
I mean, everything about Zimbabwe is beautiful. I've never had bad experiences in Zimbabwe. So beauty for me doesn't start with what the eyes see, but it starts with how you feel when you're in a place.
Okay.
So for me, I can say Harare is very beautiful, not because of the buildings I see or the people I meet, but because of how it makes me feel, right?
As an individual.
As an individual. But there are certain places in Zimbabwe that I was shocked that, like there's places like this. For example, there's a dam in a place called Mashawa. Have you been there? There's a place called Mashawa, and then there was a mine, part of Shabani Mashawa mine. So they dug so deep, and they were mining asbestos, and a certain chemical was in the soil. So they dug so deep that they reached the water table, and then the water rose to the surface, and the mixture of that water and the chemical made the water blue. So it became a blue dam. I mean, it's crazy. Bro. This is something crazy.
I was once a casual worker at Ichinoe Caves, and the water is blue, and I barely know the reason why. And you are mentioning something like that. It's amazing. I mean, you just motivated me to pack my bags and go to so that I can go and experience the same thing. I want the same exposure that you have. I mean, you're standing there and you're telling me that you are taking kids from rural areas so that they can go and experience, so that they can go and see wildlife, so that they can relate, they can protect their own thing. People barely do that.
True.
With things they are hard right now, and you are there having the audacity traveling on foot. It's crazy. What was your experience outside of Zimbabwe? You traveled South Africa to South Africa?
Yes, so I walked from, I'm on a mission to walk from Cape Town, the most southern part of continent Africa, to the highest point of the continent, which is Mount Kilimanjaro.
Bro.
So this is a total of 6,000 kilometers, right? So I want to walk from Cape Town to Mount Kilimanjaro, Tanzania. And currently I've done South Africa and I've done Botswana, a part of Botswana. And I'm still yet to do Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Tanzania. But so far, in between the two countries, the experiences have been mixed, to be honest. I mean, but overall, it's been great. It's beautiful exposure. I mean, it's amazing. But for example, I've been robbed in South Africa.
Wait, you have been robbed in South Africa?
Yeah. Just outside Cape Town.
Yo, bro, when you say something like that,
Yeah.
You've been robbed.
I've been robbed in South Africa.
What was the experience, bro?
It's terrifying. I mean, it's very much terrifying. To think that you're only just a random guy walking, trying to do something great, something good for yourself.
Exactly.
And then there are people out there who don't see it that way, who are up to benefit. It's not everyone. Remember, South Africa is a very beautiful country. Very beautiful country. But there's always those 1-2 individuals, who are not up for the good.
You see?
So I was robbed just outside Cape Town. en route to Clan William, because that particular day I was supposed to walk 35 kilometers. 35 to a place called Philadelphia, and before I even got there, I was dropped. But I didn't stop there. I just went back to Cape Town after consulting some police officers, and they told me that it wasn't particularly safe to walk in that particular area. So I just changed. I went to Mafika in South Africa.
So you didn't know that you were walking into a trap?
Yeah, it's more like walking blindly.
Exactly, because when you're carrying a travel bag, isn't it?
Yeah.
Most of the time you're carrying a travel bag.
Yeah.
And those people, they'll be like, aha.
That's the guy.
But at the same time, you don't know anything.
And there's also language barriers.
Exactly.
Most of the times it's language barriers. So someone can maybe greet you in their language, or they can tell you something in their language, and you might not be able to digest what they're saying or decrypt what they're saying. So language barriers is something that actually contributes towards not feeling super safe in a country. So you need to learn their language before you get to a certain place. Yeah.
And then another thing, I would say you are crazy, because I mean, in this modern age, who would have the audacity to walk more than 30 kilometers? That's unlike us as Zimbabweans, to go back in time to start behaving like our ancestors. Those people, they used to walk long distance.
True.
My question is, what motivated you to say, this is what I want to do? How did you start?
Okay, so it's actually a crazy story.
I want to hear the crazy story.
So how it started was, remember we were in COVID.
Exactly.
Right, so we were all locked down. No one was traveling. You couldn't even go to another city. You couldn't even go anywhere.
Exactly.
So everyone was like indoors. So then I said to myself, okay, so after all this, I want to travel around my country. That was the first idea. So I just want to travel around my country. And the whole idea was to taste different foods around the country, meet different people around the country, experience different cultures around the country.
Our own cultures.
Our own cultures that are here in Zimbabwe. So the only reason why I wanted to travel was for culture, food, people. That was the whole thing. That's what I wanted to connect with, right? So I said, okay, after this is all done, I really want to go out there and explore my country. But now there were so many modes of transport to use. You can drive around the country, you can use public transport, you can ride a bike, you can cycle, you can do a lot of things. So I said, okay, which places do I want to explore? So I took out a map. I'm looking at the map, and that's when I noticed something, that it was one road that connects the entire country. I bet you didn't know. Did you know?
No, I didn't, but I saw your video and you were mentioning that.
Yeah, so it's one road from Harare to Mutare to Bechnav Bridge, Masvingo to Blawayo, back to Harare. It's one unbroken road.
Wait, so you're saying that it's actually a one road?
Yeah.
From Harare to Bechnav?
It's one road. It's one unbroken road that you can take. And in most cities, guess what? It's called Robert Mugabe Road. It's crazy.
So my bro, you traveled around Zimbabwe.
So I said, okay, I'm going to do this. No one has walked this road.
Exactly.
Why don't I just do it? And besides, it's something that's actually challenging, and it's the most humble way of traveling, and it's the most immenseful way of traveling. And you know, when you're walking, you don't miss a thing. I'm at that point where if you ask me about a certain tree between Harare and Mutare, I'll definitely tell you about that tree.
So when you are walking, do you get the chance to think about a lot of things? Because you are walking by yourself, and you've got a lot of time to think about certain things. Do you take it as I would say a therapy, something like that, or maybe you take it in a different way?
Well, I take it slightly in a different way, but just to add on to what you said, walking is not more of the physical effort, but it's more of a mental fit. Because there's one word, trust me, that will hit you so hard on the road, and that word is called lonely.
Exactly.
You get lonely on the road, and now you need to make sure that you balance up your mind.
How do you do?
To make sure that you're enjoying the journey. You enjoy every step that you take, because for me it's all about taking in everything about a certain country that I'm in, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm walking from Harare to Marondera, for example,
Exactly.
I want to take in the environment. I want to take in everything about it. So I'm focusing on the trees, on the wildlife. I'm focusing on the buildings, infrastructure. I'm focusing on all that. So I don't have time to be thinking about how lonely I am. I don't end up getting lonely. Yeah.
So what are the challenges that you have faced so far in this whole journey that you're doing?
So I've faced so many challenges. For the journey I did around Zimbabwe,
Exactly.
the challenges mostly is always you need to carry a lot of power banks. Because remember,
Yeah.
you're going to be getting in remote areas and stuff like that. So that means a lot of weight to carry with you. You need to carry a lot of water. So issues to do with power and water are the greatest challenges that you face, because you need about 3 power banks, and you know how heavy those are. And then you're going to be
Exactly.
walking like 40 kilometers. You need about 5 liters to 10 liters of water to stay hydrated. And if you don't find water along the way,
Exactly. You see,
that's a problem. So
I was watching your video, and you were saying that the only thing between you and passing out was a sweet, a lollipop. Dude, that's scary.
It is. It wasn't entirely my fault. So I was walking from Rusape
Hey.
to Nyazura, right? And Google Maps told me there were certain places I would actually get water, right? So as I'm walking, I got to a pan, and most of the times I use filters to filter water. So I can also take water from the river, filter it.
You do
and
that?
drink. Yeah, I've done that a couple of times. So sometimes you take water from the river, you filter it, and then you drink. But it was in a hot season. Remember, that was around September.
Exactly.
All rivers were dry, and I'd only carried 3 liters of water. And then where I slept in Yazura, there was no water supply.
Okay.
So I woke up the next morning without water. So you see what happens now. I have 0 liters of water.
Exactly.
I don't have water, and I have to cover about 29 kilometers.
29.
And the only thing I had there was just one sweet that was left with in my backpack. Because sometimes I would meet kids and then I would
Exactly.
give them some sweets and stuff. So I had only one sweet, and that sweet took me for about 4 kilometers in. And that's when I saw one guy who was doing his gardening, and then I asked him for water. That was great.
You know what? It's amazing, your journey. I want to talk about where you sleep. You travel from Harare to Bulawayo, and then you get to Bulawayo. Where do you sleep?
That's a good question. But when I travel, I have a camping kit. Right? So I always make sure I have my sleeping bag, camping tent, and my air mattress. Right? So all these things that's the first thing that I have when I'm walking. Right? So whatever it is, I know I'm always going to have a place to sleep. But the question is it safe where you're going to sleep? So what I do is I make sure that I finish walking around 3 o'clock in a certain area around 3 p.m., right? So when I get there, I start talking to locals.
Exactly.
Hey guys, I'm looking for a place to just pitch my tent.
Exactly.
But my first options is always hospitals, clinics, police stations.
Okay. Police stations.
Yeah, police stations. So I go to a police station, I tell them what I'm doing, and I just tell them I need a safe place to pitch my tent. It doesn't always work. It happened to me in Botswana as well, where they denied me a place to sleep at the army camp, and then at the police camp as well. So now you need to be very careful on how am I going to find another place, because you can approach anyone, but you don't know who you're actually going to approach.
Exactly.
Sometimes you can approach someone who might be not thinking the right way.
That's the danger of this whole situation.
Exactly. You see?
You are risking your life, bro.
I mean, what's adventure without risk?
You are risking everything.
True.
Zimbabweans, we care so much about our lives to the extent that we barely do such things that you are doing.
Yeah, true.
You mentioned kids.
Yeah.
You have your own foundation. It's called Cape to Kili Foundation.
Yeah.
When I heard about it, when I was watching your videos, I told myself, like, this guy is inspiring. How did you manage to think of Cape to Kili, and what is Cape to Kili in the first place?
All right. So Cape to Kili is a non-profit organization. So what we do is we connect children with wildlife, connecting children with nature. making sure kids are a part of conservation. So let me take you back, just a few steps back. You know, right now we are talking about how we should preserve the earth, preserve our planet. And then we talk about how much we should not kill elephants, rhinos and all that because we're keeping these for the future generation. And then the future generation completely has no clue about the importance of wildlife.
True.
So why are we keeping these things for them when they don't know anything about them, right? So I came back and I said, okay, I am going to make sure that kids are a part of conservation at a very young age, right? So what I do is, how the whole idea came up together was I was walking around Zimbabwe and I was walking and in some remote places. We will take videos with kids, right? And I would always ask them the same questions. So have you seen an elephant before? I'm a huge fan of elephants. I'm a huge fan of lions.
I've never seen an elephant before, even a lion. I've never.
Let's do it. I'll make sure you do that.
So you see, exposure is powerful.
So do you see what I'm talking about?
Exactly.
So you've never seen an elephant before. You've never seen a lion before.
Exactly.
If someone comes to you and they say, Birioti, I got $1,000 for you, or $1 million for you. Here's a gun. Kill an elephant and I'll give you $1 million. You're probably gonna do it.
I won't hesitate.
You won't hesitate because you're not a part of it. You're not
barely
connected
know
with it.
nothing about elephants.
Exactly. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to educate children about conservation, trying to make sure they're a part of it. Because I believe that you can only protect something that you're connected to. Right? I can only protect you because I'm connected to you.
Exactly.
So I can never protect wildlife if I'm not connected to it. So what's the first thing we need to do? We need to make sure that we connect children to wildlife. And one day, one child at a time, we are going to have a generation that doesn't have poachers. That's
it.
That's Cape to Kill.
So
the foundation, that's what it does. So what I do mostly is that I partner with other organizations like Connected Planet Foundation. So what we do is we go to remote places to where children, they can never afford a chance to get into national parks. National parks and all those game reserves have been made to be so expensive. And I'm sure you can agree with that.
I can agree.
So they've made to be so expensive. So now, even as much as children who stay in Victoria Falls, in as much as they stay so close to these game reserves,
they can't afford
to get in. So why don't we take it upon ourselves to take these children into the game reserves and make them be a part of the bigger picture of conservation?
You got a point. What can you tell someone who wants to do the same thing that you're doing? I mean, it's crazy. I would tell them it's crazy. Yeah. Even myself, I'll be like, if I walk 10 kilometers and I feel like my feet are no longer doing me good.
Well, it's pretty much different, right? It's different. Well, if you want to do it, don't think about it. Trust me, the moment you think about it too deep, you're not going to walk 5 kilometers. So what you just need to do is you just need to set up the route that you want to take.
Exactly.
And just get on the road.
Exactly.
You get fit as you go. You get strong as you go. And if you face challenges, you just keep on going, just keep on pressing. And before you know it, you've done so much.
You've traveled Zimbabwe. Are you going to travel like Africa, the whole of Africa?
Yeah.
And even the world at large? Are you going to do that?
That's a big one. But so far I've done Zimbabwe, I've done South Africa, I've done Botswana. This is all walking. And I'm still yet to do Zambia, I'm still yet to do Tanzania, I'm still yet to do as many countries as I can. So in most cases, sometimes I won't walk around the entire country. Maybe I'll just walk 100 kilometers in a specific country.
But that is you going through a certain country, which means you've gone through
the country, yeah. So definitely we're going to walk Africa.
It's amazing.